In this video, we will learn about the backstack and how it's look like and how it's working and how it helps us to manage the user flow. In order to understand that, I have already created some of the content, so it will help us to demonstrate you like how it look like. Suppose we are having an application with having 6 different fragments like A, B, C, D, E, F. So we have two flows. I will going to the first flow 1. So in the backstack currently we have A, B, C, D, E. So the user going from A to B and B to C, then C to D and E. Let's in the first flow. So we have an action D to E. So how it look like? Suppose we are not having that fragment currently, and user is standing on the D fragment, and he want to move from D to E fragment. Like the next fragment, we will E. So we have an action which is in navigation component. Like we already know that, like how we navigate from one fragment to another fragment with the help of action. In the action we have ID like action D to E, and destination is E. And also we are using two of the attributes more like popUpTo and popupToInclusive. This time popUpTo is like this one, C. So we are popUpTo and popupToInclusive true. What is about that? We will get that to understand like later. Okay, now when user click on any button, and this time the action performed like he moved from D to E. In that case the backstack will remove the fragments between the popUpTo and the last fragment. So currently the last fragment will be E. Now the popUpTo and the last fragment between we have only one fragment, and that is D, but there is one another flag we are using is popupToInclusive. That's mean the fragment which mentioned in popUpTo like the C1 will be also removed from the backstack. So in that case our backstack will look like this. Like if you compare both of the backstack, we don't see C and D. So what we are seeing is A, B and E, F. So these are the fragments we are currently having the backstack after performing this action. Now our flow 2 is regarding about popupInclusive false and how it helps. Now our second flow is about popupInclusive false. In that case, let's suppose a user is performing an action from E to F. In that case, I will assume we are currently standing there on E fragment. Now popUpTo B. So and also when user perform this action, it's mean like he moved from E to F fragment. In that case our last fragment will be this. Now what we understood is that like the fragments between coming in popUpTo and last fragment, in that case we have E, but this time popupToInclusive is false. That's mean that the fragment which includes popUpTo will be not removed. It will remain still in the backstack. So how it look like the backstack after removing that? It will look like this. Let's remove that and delete that, and also we'll delete this. Now the backstack will look like this: A, B and F. F is our top fragment right now. So that's how like the backstack is working. So why we need that? Let's suppose we are having this example, and currently, by the way, I will share this link in the description. You can go through with these. Like suppose you are having different screen. Let's suppose you are on the first screen and you want to make any order. You go to the flavor fragment, pick flavor, then order summary. Let's suppose there is a cancel button right there. So if user want to cancel the order and he want to, let's suppose he change mind and want to order something different or doesn't want to anything. In that case, we know that our backstack will filled with these fragments. When user cancel, we need to redirect to that screen, and also we make sure that these fragments are removed from the backstack. So in that case, what will look like this: popUpTo start summary and also popupInclusive true. And that's mean like it will when user click on the cancel button, so this fragment, this fragment, this fragment, and also the previous start fragment will be removed and start a new fragment, and that fragment will be also added to the backstack. Now we understood like how the popUpTo and popupToInclusive true and false working and how it helps us to manage the flow. Add more clarity to this example as well. And action perform. Remember we have this graph like the last fragment is summary fragment and app popUpTo start fragment, and also popupToInclusive is false. In that case, what will be our backstack? So we already knew that the fragments between the popUpTo and the last fragment will be removed. So let's go to the next graph. In that case, the backstack will look like this, and we notice that the start fragments are having two instances in the backstack, that because the popup inclusive is false. So it's create a new instance and add that to the backstack. To avoid that, we knew that if we make it true, then it will also including the fragment which is mentioned in the popUpTo. So in that case, our backstack will look like this: main activity and start fragment. So what will happen? What will happen is that, like when user click on the cancel button, so the fragments between the last and popUpTo, including also the popUpTo fragment, will be removed from the backstack and new fragment will create and add that to the backstack. So in this video, we learn about the backstack. If you still have a question or confusion, you can leave that in the comment section. I will go through with it and will try to help out of my best. Thank you, and please subscribe to the channel.